If letting go feels harder than staying in pain, there's a reason, and it's not weakness. For some people, holding on doesn't feel like a choice, it feels like survival. And even when the attachment is draining them, even when it's costing their peace, even when they know, logically, that staying hurts more than leaving, they still can't let go. Not because they don't see the damage, but because letting go feels like something inside them would collapse. And that's the part no one talks about. 1. This isn't normal, but it makes sense. From the outside, it looks irrational. Why stay attached to something that hurts you? Why replay conversations that already ended? Why keep hoping for change that never comes? People will tell you, just move on. Just choose yourself. Just let it go. But the human brain doesn't work on logic alone. Your mind isn't designed to seek happiness. It's designed to seek predictability. And predictable pain feels safer than unfamiliar peace. Your nervous system would rather stay in a known hell than step into an unknown quiet, because quiet feels empty, and emptiness feels dangerous when your identity was built around holding on. So no, this isn't weakness. This is a system that learned that attachment equals safety, even when it hurts. 2. The quiet conditioning no one calls trauma. Most people think trauma has to be dramatic, something big, something obvious, but the patterns that make people unable to let go often come from something quieter: inconsistency, emotional unpredictability, love that came with a cost. Maybe care was given, then withdrawn. Maybe affection had conditions. Maybe connection meant walking on eggshells. So your system learned closeness requires effort. Attachment requires vigilance. Letting go means losing control. And when connection once meant instability, your nervous system didn't learn to release. It learned to hold tighter, because holding on felt like the only way to prevent collapse. 3. When holding on becomes identity. This is where it turns destructive. At some point, you're not holding on to the person anymore. You're holding on to who you became around them. The one who waited, the one who endured, the one who stayed loyal through confusion. Pain became proof of depth. Suffering became meaning. Endurance became identity. And letting go doesn't just mean losing them. It means losing the version of yourself that survived by holding on. That's why it feels unbearable. 4. The false solutions that keep you stuck. This is why most advice doesn't work. Cut them off. Forgets and forget. Replace them with someone better. These are actions, but letting go isn't an action. It's a loss of internal structure. When you've built your emotional world around anticipation, attachment, and hope, removing the object doesn't remove the system. So you let go on the surface, but internally nothing releases, and then people wonder why they keep going back. 5. The shift. Letting go isn't forgetting. It isn't erasing memories. It isn't pretending it didn't matter. Letting go is teaching your nervous system that nothing collapses when you release, that safety doesn't disappear when attachment loosens, that your identity doesn't vanish when you stop holding on. And that's not something you decide. It's something your system has to learn. 6. Why some people stay even when it hurts. People who can't let go aren't addicted to pain. They're addicted to continuity. Holding on creates a sense of ongoing connection, even if it's painful, even if it's imaginary, because the alternative feels like emotional freefall, no narrative, no role, no anchor. And the brain interprets that as danger, so it clings not to the person, but to the structure the attachment provided. Shame locks the attachment in place. Because once you judge yourself for not letting go, you add another layer of pressure. I should be over this. What's wrong with me? Why am I still here? That self-attack activates the nervous system even more, and a dysregulated system doesn't release, it grips. 7. The loyalty trap. For some people, letting go feels like betrayal, not of the other person, but of their own endurance. If you leave now, what was all that suffering for? So you stay, you hold on, you wait, because letting go would mean admitting that endurance didn't guarantee safety, and that realization is terrifying. 8. When hope becomes a cage. Hope can be healing, but when hope becomes a coping mechanism, it traps you. Because as long as there's hope, you don't have to grieve, and grief is what actually ends attachments. So instead of mourning, you stay suspended, neither here nor gone. From a psychological standpoint, this isn't a character flaw. It's a nervous system stuck in threat response. Attachment activates regulation. Loss activates danger. So the system avoids release, not because it's irrational, but because it believes letting go equals collapse. 9. Why time alone doesn't heal this. Time doesn't heal attachments. Safety does. If your system never learns that release doesn't equal danger, time just becomes a waiting room. You don't move on, you pause. 10. The cost of not letting go. Here's the quiet cost. You stop being fully present. You stop investing deeply elsewhere. You live half attached to the past, not because you want to, but because your system doesn't know another way. You're not weak for holding on. You're responding exactly as a system would that learned attachment equals safety. The problem isn't that you can't let go. It's that no one ever taught your nervous system how to release without fear. You can't logic your way out of a survival pattern. Willpower doesn't calm the nervous system. Understanding does. Safety does. Consistency does. The real question isn't, how do I let go? It's, what part of me believes it's not safe too? And until that part is addressed, letting go will always feel like loss of self, not freedom. That's what most people miss, and that's what we'll break down next.
If you love new knowledge to improve your life, hit subscribe now.